Hey, look, it's like a T. Hi, and welcome to week 3 of the I Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
And close again, buddy. I understand after the Monday Nighter, you pulled ahead of me by 1.
Yes.
So that was a nice pick there, picking against Chicago. Everybody else thought it was going to happen, so that was pretty neat. So, we're 1 apart now after 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks in the can. Starting to see people posting their picks and what they think. It's good to see all the fan base back. It's good to see people like Paul keeping us honest. He didn't have a whole lot this week, so maybe now we can make lots of mistakes this week.
How'd you do last week, Paul? I was 11-5.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't sense that hostility. Stick around, folks. We're going to come back now. We're going to tell you what's going to happen this week in week 3.
Welcome back to the I Formation. Now we're going to make our picks for week 3 of the 2016-17 NFL season. Starting with a showdown between the Houston Texans and New England Patriots.
Both 2-0. Who thought that this time? Got to be honest, I was amazed when we compared picks that we both went the same way on this, and we're both picking Houston. I'm picking Houston to win by 6 points in Gillette.
Sounds good. I'll say that as well.
So, sock puppet or not, as you said, the Patriots without Jimmy Garoppolo, and actually we agonized over we would say this other guy's name, Brissett, who
cares?
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett, I believe, is his name, and I think that they've announced that Garoppolo will dress and back up Brissett for this game. In a real emergency, they'll bring in Julian Edelman to throw the ball around, so that should be interesting if that happens.
I watched that game with Glenn on the weekend and just had it out of my mouth. I said, I wonder who the backup quarterback is now, I said, for Jimmy Garoppolo. And we said, I don't know. We both Googled it, and we had just gotten the word Jacoby Brissett. And then all of a sudden we look on the field, and here's Garoppolo leaving. I was like, no, this can't happen. It was pretty funny. Yeah. I know there's been a lot of almost apathy about this game, thinking that, okay, well, it doesn't matter. It's one person at CBS Sports said, that Bill Belichick could win this game with a sock puppet for quarterback. I think that's a little bit arrogant, to be honest. I think that the Houston Texans are an up-and-coming team. We're both picking them to go deep. And I think that it'll be fun to watch them go in and actually upset that apple cart. And like I said, 6 points.
Yes, I know. It's the Patriots at home, and everybody thinks that Patriots are unbeatable at home. With Tom Brady, they're damn close to it. Jimmy Garoppolo, once again, had a couple of great games there, and he actually was having 3 touchdown passes in this one before he got injured. Mm-hmm. And Jacoby Brissett, now we're talking about a third-string guy. No one's ever heard of this guy. Came in, he threw for 92 yards, so I guess he's doing okay. He knows the system. But we're against Houston's defense now, and we're talking about a third-string quarterback going against J.J. Watt. And Watt's licking his lips there now. He's getting ready to do some damage. And I think Houston's going to go into New England, and I think they're going to humiliate them. That's what I'm calling. I'll say Houston by 10 plus.
I'm saying 6. I think that this is it'll be fun to watch, actually.
Yeah. Well, also, New England has given up over 800 yards of offense against them this year. So just wanted to throw that into their defense, ain't all that.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Next, we got the Denver Broncos in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. And this is going to be Trevor Simeon's first road game, which is the first thing I wanted to point out. But another interesting statistic I noted this week when I was doing my research, this is Andy Dalton at home and his 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start.
Heard about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of buoying it up. He does very well in that time slot. Do you know that Andy Dalton has thrown for more yards than any other quarterback in the NFL at week 2?
This year.
I'm thinking that he's off to a good start. I'm going to say Cincinnati at home by a field goal.
Well, I know that Denver is dealing with the loss of DeMarcus Ware, who broke his forearm in a little bit of a freak play this week when he collided with Von Miller. Nobody wants to collide with Von Miller. And so Ware is out for 3 to 4 weeks. That being said, I still like Denver's secondary. I still like T.J. Ward at safety. I still like Harris and Akeem Talib out there on the corners. And these guys have been getting it done. And they got it done all last year, all the way to the Super Bowl. And I think they can come through this one with the loss of Ware, get the win. The defense gets the win once again.
All right.
By 2 or 3 points. That's it.
3 points, Cincy. Over and out. Next we got Washington and the New York Giants. Always a good game to watch.
It is.
And Washington played 2 really good games against the G-Men last year. In both games there was over 300 yards of offense. And of course then we had the classic collapse of the G-Men last year. 5 third or fourth quarter leads blown. I think they're a little bit stronger than people give them credit for. And I talked about the Giants. I've already been on the Giants bandwagon in that division. And I think that the Giants are going to win this close. I take the over on this one. I think there's going to be a lot of points on the board. I think, my saying, 55 plus. That's what I'm picking.
Yeah, quite the anomaly there last week when the Giants had 3 turnovers there against the Saints, and they still managed to squeak out a win there. Giants defense playing very well. Offense not so much. However, Washington's secondary is allowing a 73% completion rate against them this year. They're not doing well at all. If you got Eli Manning in your fantasy pool, start him this week. Giants by 7.
All right, exactly where I was. Next we got Minnesota and Carolina. And, the Minnesota Vikings, no Teddy Bridgewater, no Adrian Peterson. In Carolina, do the math.
I agree.
7 points.
Yeah, I think they're going to go McKinnon and Asiata on the ground there, tandem.
Man, that sounds like a sandwich. I'll have to do this one in that. Yeah. All right, man.
And of course, also we should mention that Jonathan Stewart is out for Carolina, and they will be handing the ball over to a guy who got 100 yards for him last week, Fozzie Whitaker.
Ah! That never gets old, right? It's like the Teletubbies joke. I'm sure that Don Terry Poe doesn't like it.
That's all right. Paul will get on us about that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Next,
Cleveland in Miami to play the Dolphins. And the shit sandwiches continue for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh my God!
Oh man, you can't have worse luck than the Cleveland Browns. I mean, now with
Cody Kessler, I think, is their starting quarterback for this week. But if Kessler doesn't pan out, they have signed Charlie Whitehorse. I wouldn't want to be Miami this week. Charlie Whitehorse comes in that game with his 75 passer rating career.
Is that cumulative?
74.7, I believe. Yeah, cumulative. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Charlie Whitehorse coming to town. Watch out, Miami.
The Miami Dolphins, with no game plan to speak of for the first 2 games, need to get something together. This is a chance for them to treat the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sorry, the Cleveland Browns, beat them like a redheaded stepson.
Yeah, and to make matters worse for Cleveland, Cameron Irving, their starting center, is probably out for this one. So we're talking about a second-string center passing the ball to either Cody Kessler or Charlie Whitehurst, going up against a Miami defense that's hungry for a win.
What could go wrong, folks?
Yeah.
Miami by 14
I really hope Cleveland don't win this game.
And we got through that whole Miami piece without me saying Ndamukong Suh once.
Ndamukong Suh.
It's all good. Next, we got Baltimore going into Jacksonville. Lots of football in Florida State this week. I think this is going to be another close game, and part of that is because Jacksonville, another team that's been sort of unpredictable in the first couple of games, But you got the Jacksonville Heat again, and I think Baltimore's a little bit better than people give them credit for. I've been sort of talking about them under my breath so far this season. I just like Joe Flacco, and I think that he can get the job done there. I think this is going to be close. I'm thinking maybe even a field goal. I'm calling it 17-14.
Okay. I like Baltimore in this one as well. Jaguars haven't impressed me much this year. They held their own against Green Bay in week 1, but they were a really bad team there last week, and turnovers are a problem. And now they're going to be missing their left tackle, Kelvin Beachum, who's gone down to injury, so not as much protection there now. And Baltimore's defense has been playing very well. So if you thought Jacksonville was bad before, if they were cold before, now they got to deal with zero Kelvin.
That's cold.
That's pretty cold, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Ahoy!
I know it was bad.
That's good, man. Yeah. Sometimes it's just the way it is. Next we got Arizona going into Buffalo to play the new and improved Ryans,
Yeah, really.
Bills,
Yeah.
and all kinds of things going off there, man. That's just a hot mess. I don't see Buffalo. Buffalo's still not getting any better with on the suspension and the injury list. I think, and of course Arizona, even going east, I'm giving Arizona 10 points here.
Yeah, Buffalo was up against the Jets there last week, and the New York Jets put up almost 500 yards of offense against them. They gave up almost 400 yards of Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the ball. Now they got to face Carson Palmer. I know they're at home. Maybe a little bit closer than you think. I'm going to say Arizona by... I'll let Buffalo stick within a field goal. Arizona by 3.
Okay. Next we got Oakland and Tennessee, and this year you have the proverbial you-know-what for Oakland. It seems like you can't shake them, and we're going to disagree on this one too. I think in Tennessee, Marcus Mariota, potato.
Yeah.
He's Super Mario. I think he comes up with a clinic. I think he plays a good game at home, and he's put up some pretty good numbers already this year. So I'm thinking Tennessee beats Oakland in Tennessee by a touchdown.
I like Oakland this game. Their defense has been really bad. Surprisingly, this year they're giving up over 500 yards a game for the first 2 weeks, and they really had a bad showing last week against Atlanta. That being said, Derek Carr has been playing really good ball, 300 yards last week and a few touchdowns there. And I think that Amari Cooper has also been having a good year as well. Tennessee, I think, will be dealing with a steady ground attack from Oakland, and I like Oakland to win this game by 10 points.
Okay. No Kelvin jokes there. We're in. All right. Next, we got a division rivalry. We got Detroit at Green Bay. The Packers stunned this week. I think they get back to fundamentals, and they're in Lambeau. But I'm still making this a field goal game, and I think it may be deliciously low scoring for these two teams, where they have the ability to put points on the board. But I think that these two defenses cost each other out, and I think. The division rivalry keeps this under 40 points.
Yeah, Detroit had a rough go there last week against Tennessee, which was strange. It's one of the surprises of the week for me that Tennessee will go into Detroit and beat them. I think that Detroit's going to have a bit of a bounce-back game. I don't see him going into Green Bay and winning. I also think it's going to be a close game, though. Their Ansah is the defensive end for Detroit, and he is going to be out for this one, and he was 3rd or 4th in the NFL last year with, I think it was 13 or 14 sacks. So a big part of Detroit's defense will be missing here, and look for Aaron Rodgers to exploit that and come up with the win.
So you're telling me that Detroit doesn't have the answer for Green Bay?
Absolutely not.
Okay, just want to clarify that. All right, comedy's free, folks, and for a reason. Next, we got the LA Rams in Tampa Bay for another Florida football challenge. The come and go Rams, man, they're in and out like with the tide. Not sure who's going to show up from one week to the next. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win at home, and I think that this is. I'm going to give them a touchdown.
I like Tampa Bay in this one as well, even though Jameis Winston, for some reason, was a turnover machine last week. In Arizona, he threw 4 picks and he fumbled the ball once. 5 turnovers were Winston's responsibility, and now he's going to come back home. He got to face his hometown fans after that performance, and I think he comes up big in this one. And I'm not sure if Doug Martin's going to be out for Tampa or not. There's an MRI scheduled for today. Today's Tuesday. And he may or may not be in. Mm-hmm. So if he's gone, you got Charles Sims, I guess, taking the ball. In any case, I see Tampa beating St. Louis. I'm going to say Tampa wins by 10 points.
I get Sims going to my fantasy pools.
Oh, not bad.
So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. I think they get the job done though all the same. Next we got San Francisco at Seattle. And Seattle, as I've said before, are in an offensive funk, and they started the last 2 seasons the same way. Unable to put points on the board. Eked out that win against Miami and then lost this week to the Rams. So they need to put points on the board. They have the players to do it. Russell Wilson needs to right that ship. He's got the 12th man behind him this week, and I think that they come up big. I think I'm giving them 6 points against that San Francisco defense.
Yeah, San Francisco's been playing a bit better to start the season than I thought they would, although last week they gave up over 500 yards of offense to Carolina. So their defenses certainly didn't really have a good game last week. Seattle, the problem with Seattle is their offensive line. One of the worst offensive lines in the game. They can't get the protection out there with Wilson. He seems like he's scrambling almost every play. Then you take into account that Baldwin and Lockett are both hurting, and are not being able to get to their full speed against the corners. So Seattle, Thomas Rawls has been hurting as well. They're a beat-up team. Rawls, I believe, will play in this one, and Michael's going to back him up. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Michael take over the reins in this one before it's over. I expect Seattle's defense to come up with a huge showing this week, and I expect them to beat San Francisco by 6.
Exactly what I said.
Oh, is it? Good.
Well, the spread anyway. Yeah. Next we got San Diego at Lucas Oil to play the Indianapolis Colts. These are 2 teams that could really use a win right now. So cue the home game. Cue Andrew Luck to have a decent game. He gets it going. Do you know I think who else is going to get it going in this game? I think Frank Gore is going to be a difference on the ground.
I'd love to see Frank Gore have a big game, and I see it happening actually. And I also see Andrew Luck waking up for this one, home opener for Indy, and they should be able to get this one done. San Diego not having much luck. Keenan Allen gone the first week, torn ACL. Last week they lose Danny Woodhead, conference season, torn ACL. So not very much left there in San Diego. They're going into Indy. I do expect this game to be high scoring. San Diego had a real good showing there last week, and their offense has been playing pretty well, especially Travis Benjamin out there, wide receiver. Now that Keenan Allen is out, you might want to grab Benjamin on your fantasy team. And like I said, Indy by
I'm saying
6.
I'm saying 4.
4? Okay, I like it.
Next we got the Jets in Kansas City to play the Chiefs. And I think this is another close game. The Chiefs have been battling some funk as well with respect to scoring points, and they've been in some close spots. I think that Alex Smith is still one of the best. I just like that he's a mistake-free kind of quarterback that commands the game. He doesn't he doesn't overpower it. He's not a Drew Brees. He's not a Tom Brady. Or even a Peyton Manning for that matter. He's more let's manage the game kind of thing. Clock control, doesn't make big mistakes most times. And I think that they win this close at home. I'm thinking a field goal.
Yeah, I was going to mention too, Kansas City played Houston last week, and Houston got the win there. And if you want to see defense, that was one defensive battle. You know, I was looking at the number of first downs in this game. Houston had 15 first downs in the entire game. Kansas City had 14. That's 29 first downs in the entire game of football. And to put that in perspective, the game between Atlanta and Oakland had 57 first downs. So, I mean, this was a defensive battle last week. Kansas City's defense still playing well, and they'll get this one done by a touchdown.
Awesome. On to Philadelphia for the Pittsburgh Steelers in town to play the Eagles. And we've been talking about the Philadelphia Eagles sort of off camera. You know, maybe puffed up a little bit bigger than they should be right now.
Yes,
we still don't think they're a factor in that division compared to some of the other teams. But I think that Pittsburgh and Ben Roethlisberger are a formidable opponent for them, and I think he's going to go in there and show them a real offense. I think they beat. They're going to beat Philadelphia by 10 points plus. I think this is going to be a good, solid outing by Roethlisberger. You're going to see Brown. They haven't even got Le'Veon Bell back yet. He's back after week 4, I think it is.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, D'Angelo Williams had a couple of statistics here on Mr. Williams and what he's done so far. And if I could find them, that would be okay. So forget about that, because it doesn't look like I'm going to find
I had this wonderful speech prepared, but I can't find it. It's all good.
Yeah, but no, D'Angelo Williams is gone for...
he has played very well.
Well over 200 yards so far this year, and I think he had another 60 or 70 yards in the air as well. I think 3 touchdowns. So, Le'Veon who? You know, they don't need Bell right now. Williams is getting the job done, and I think that Pittsburgh, I agree with Jeff, and I think that Pittsburgh is going to go into Philly and rout them.
All right. Next we got Chicago in Dallas to play the Cowboys. And Chicago's disappointing. They played very, very poorly. Again, kudos to your pick on the Monday Nighter. When everybody else said it couldn't be done, you did. And, you know, they lost. They went in there and lost by, what was it, 2 touchdowns? It was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And now they've got to deal with Sean Hoyer throwing the ball. Is it Hoyer?
Brian Hoyer.
Or Brian Hoyer? Yeah.
Whoever it is. What does it matter?
Sean.
No matter what his name is.
It don't matter what my name is. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Cutler got some ligament damage in his thumb. He's going to be out quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did that as he was throwing an interception, didn't he?
Is that right? Well,
I'm pretty sure that's usually what happens. That's how they break the story in Chicago. You know, and he's been, like they were saying about his stats, actually during the Monday Nighter, saying that he was 1 game below 500 since he left Denver. Like in those, I think he's there 9 seasons now, something ridiculous like that. I didn't realize he'd been there that long, but anyway, just can't get it going. I think that the Bears are going to keep this surprisingly close for most of the game, and I just give them. I'm going to say Dallas beats them by a touchdown late.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I think Chicago, their offensive line, mind you, has been horrible, just holds everywhere. Their defense is not as bad as it was. Their defense still has some great players on it. And I think they're just from pride alone, they'll show up, keep it close against Dallas. I'm gonna even say that the Bears might keep this within a field goal.
Okay,
I
good.
like Dallas to win, though.
All right, finally, we got Atlanta going into New Orleans to play the Saints, and this is like a tale of 2 piss poor defenses. I think this is if you like points, folks, here's your game to watch. But I'm saying that New Orleans at home. Drew Brees gets it done. I'm going to say 6 points, New Orleans.
I'm going to have to go with Atlanta here because Matt Ryan's been playing really good ball this year, and I think he's thrown for 5 touchdowns. He's only had 1 pick. He's up over 600 yards on the year already. He's been playing really good ball. And Jones has been catching the ball for him, and I like their ground game as well. I think Atlanta overall is a better team than New Orleans. Not to mention New Orleans, I mean, they were down to DJ Williams as their starting corner, their number 1 corner there last week, and now he's injured. New Orleans is hurting on defense, and they're up against a high-powered offense. I like Atlanta to win this one, high-scoring game by 4 points.
There you have it, folks. That's the picks for this week. Stick around. We're going to tell you who we think our unsung heroes are.
Hi, welcome back to the I Formation. Now we're going to make our picks for Unsung Hero for week number 3.
And I think in the inaugural win week for the Miami Dolphins playing the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to pick the blindside tackle, Brandon Albert, to continue to build on a theme. And it looks like even last week, or even the first 2 weeks, the offensive line has looked a little bit stronger for Miami. So I'm going to count on Albert out on the left side to come up with a big game, protect Tannehill, and maybe pop for some big plays. Who do you like?
Even though I picked him to lose, I'm going to give a shout out to Alec Ogletree, St. Louis Rams outside linebacker. Got 21 tackles already this year and a couple of pass defenses. And he's one of these guys no one talks about, but he always gets the job done. So he's my unsung hero.
Kind of like the garbage man.
That's right.
Awesome. That's our picks for the week, folks. Again, thanks for coming and see us. We're seeing the numbers slowly creep back up again. We'd like to see more people share a video, watch for us, give us a like on our Facebook page.
More comments.
More comments.
Yes.
More cowbell.
Give us your picks.
You can also email us at the iformation@gmail.com, and of course follow us on Twitter, the iFormation. So that's week 3. Just remember, folks, enjoy the game, but respect the game as well. Don't ever drink and drive. So that's everything for me this week. You got anything else to say?
I'd like to apologize for our really poor attempts at comedy.
You'd like to apologize for your really poor attempts at comedy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
All right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just like Calvin. Absolute. Not just a vodka anymore. Thanks again, folks, for watching. So until next week, it's good night from me.
That's a good night from him. Have fun.